Hello friends, welcome back. So now in this session we will develop a REST service. In the last session we have seen the introduction of Spring REST services. So in this session we will develop we will see how we can develop our REST applications and how we can create the Spring REST project. So first we will see how we can create a Spring REST application. So Spring REST application can be created by using start.spring.io. We can use this application to create our Spring application, or else we can go with the IDE approach also. From the IDE spring.starter, and from the starter just click on next and you will get enter your details. Similar how we have created the application for Spring MVC. In the same way for Springboot Spring REST application we can follow the same approach. Just we have to exclude UI dependency, because UI part will be developed in some other language, might be developed in some other language, or that might be running on some other container. So that other than UI application, other than UI dependency we will add. So this is similar here. You have to select your project, build tool, that is a Maven. Language you can select as a Java. Springboot 3.0 to the latest version. com.techhub com.techhub.demo. Okay, Spring REST demo you can give, and this is same. So this one you can give whatever the description, the demo project for Springboot REST. Okay, and here you can give here demo dot Spring boot REST. Okay, whatever the package name you want to give, you can give. It's up to your choice. Here jar or var, either you can select jar. If you selecting jar, you can run your container as a standalone application. If you select as a var, then you can do both. You can run in your application as a standalone, and you can use the any other server. You can use any outside server that you want to deploy this var file, you can deploy. And if you select as a jar, then you can run your application as a standalone application. But in case of var, you can do both. You can run in that application as a standalone, or if you want to deploy to some other container, you can do. And here is Java version 17 you have to select. Now you have to add the dependency. So if you explore and you will see the pom.xml, then currently how many dependencies will be there? Only Spring Boot Starter Web. Why it is adding Spring Boot Starter? We have not selected any dependency, but then why it is adding? Just close this one and select to jar. Now explore. This time it is not adding any Spring Boot Web Starter application. It's not adding. It is doing only Spring Boot Starter. So Spring Boot Starter is adding only the Spring Core and Spring Context related dependencies. It's adding, and this is just testing related dependency only. These two dependencies it is adding. But if I will select as a var, then definitely it means that you are going to develop a web application. So definitely it will add Spring Boot Starter Web, and Spring Boot Starter Web and Spring Boot Starter Tomcat, embedded Tomcat also it is automatically including. Just you have to select your type var. So like that it is automatically inferring from the type of application. Okay, Okay, so here you will have to add a dependency like web module you can add, but that is already added. If you add, no issue. Okay, another one JPA we are not going to use now. Why? Because we have already made another session where we can see how we can configure JPA, how we can configure MySQL databases. So that we have already seen in the last session. Also I have seen, we have seen, and in Spring Data JPA session also we have seen. So we no need that one. Just I am just creating one repository, and inside that one I will use map and I will store the data just to see the data. Okay, so that is not required. Another one is web. That's it. We no need to add any MySQL in that case, and we also no need to add. We also no need to add any UI technology like Thymeleaf, template engine. That also we no need to add. So now if you see, so here it will be Springboot starter web, Springboot starter Tomcat. Okay, so what else we need? So here we just need web, so it is web starter, and this is Tomcat starter, so embedded Tomcat it will start. This is a testing related library, and another one we need to add the validations also. We have not by creating we have not added that one, but in our application we were adding actually. So just search for that one, validation, that is Hibernate validator. Now if you see, it will come Hibernate validator also. Yes, Springboot Tomcat, Springboot web, yes, Springboot starter validation, Springboot starter. Okay, or else you can do one thing. You can, if you don't want to add this Springboot starter validation, you can ignore and you can directly add org.hibernate.validator. So this validation, Hibernate related validation only will be added. Okay, that is up to your choice how you wanted to add that one. That's it. After that one just you have to generate, it will be downloading your project, and you can import that same project, or else you can use this STS to create the Springboot project. So any one of them approach you can follow. So we have already created Springboot REST demo. We will see this one. So before to that one let's see the RESTful web services libraries that is available. Here we are going to use Spring REST. So Spring REST is not the implementation of JAX-RS. So RESTful web services can be deployed and consumed in Java using JAX-RS API. So now what is JAX-RS? JAX-RS is only the specification. That is only the specification. We definitely have to use the implementation or Spring REST. Following are the implementation of JAX-RS. For JAX-RS, these are the implementation: Apache, CXF, WebLogic application server implementation, Jersey, REST-AC, RESTL, WebSphere application server implementation. So any one of these you can use to develop RESTful application, or if you don't want to use this one directly, you can use Spring REST. Spring REST is not the implementation of JAX-RS. So Spring REST is not the implementation of JAX-RS specification. Spring is an end-to-end framework that has so many modules with organized way. Spring Web and Spring Web MVC module is one of the module that can be used to develop web application or web services. So Spring Web MVC module only is enough to develop the REST application or web application. So and Spring REST is not the implementation of JAX-RS, but if you want to use JAX-RS and you want to develop application, you can do. Okay, but this is a famous. Okay, to know more about the Spring MVC, see my tutorial Spring MVC framework. In the last session we have seen Spring MVC. Okay, fine. Now now see how we can create the REST controller. First, what we have to do, we need to create a REST controller. So if you see our last our Spring MVC project, in our Spring MVC project, if you see, we have created controller, and that controller has an annotation @controller, and we have already seen the purpose of @controller, because if it is a @controller, then return type would be either model and view or string, because string name will be resolved with view name, and whatever the model attribute we are adding, we can add, simple, or else we can return model and view. But in case of REST controller, because here we will use @REST controller annotation. So @REST controller is what? @REST controller is introduced, that is combination of @controller and response body, response body. So if you see, currently this return type is model and view, but this return type cannot be a JSON object, cannot be an XML object, or cannot be a customer DTO. If you wanted to make that one, then what you have to do, you have to add here RESPONSE, response body. What does it mean now? Now this means that you can give response inside response body. Now you can pass any JSON or XML data, any of them. Now these are not valid here because you are adding response body also. But if you don't give response body, then you have to either return view or controller. Okay. Fine. So this is the difference between controller and REST controller. So we will see the example. So here, if you see the directory structure, the directory structure is same. It's the same. Adapter, what we have seen in the last in the Spring MVC session. What is the use of adapter? What is the use of that we will see later. You don't focus on advice. Config, you leave it. Controller, so this is your controller, directory contact controller, and you can see here. Now what is REST controller? A REST controller annotation is introduced, that is the combination of controller and response body. @REST controller bounds all the value returned by controller to the response body. That's why we are specifying @response body. Whatever the content it is coming, please add that content as it is into response body. That's it. Don't resolve with module name that value. You don't need to resolve that value to UI. Directly add that value to response body. That's it. That is the meaning of REST controller. The difference between Spring MVC and Spring REST. Spring MVC return a view page as a response, but Spring REST return directly corresponding data. Return type can be model and view or string, but this return type can be anything like XML object, JSON object, DTO, or any other blank text, string, anything it can be. Okay. Now what is request body? The request body help to map the HTTP request, that we have already seen in the last session also. Request body. So this is your request body. I will show you in Spring MVC. So if you open this controller, so here you can see. Okay, it's not here. Here it is a model attribute because that is sending from. Okay, fine. So this is your request body. Whatever you are sending here, get contact, add contact, you can see. Yeah, this is your request body. This is your request body. Directory contact DTO. We have already seen what is DTO here. What is DTO? @request body help to map the HTTP request body data to Java DTO. DTO is used to carry the data in form of HTTP request body. That is called DTO. DTO means data transfer object. So from where the data will be transferred, that will be a Java object. DTO means that will be an object only, Java object only, but that object will used for what? To transfer the data. So that's why they have given name as a DTO, data transfer object. So here we are using DTO, request body DTO. DTO is what? Directory contact DTO. So that is used to transfer the data from client to server in HTTP request body. Okay, fine. This annotation has to be applied on local parameter of the request method. Yes, we have applied in the same local parameter of the method. Fine. Next, HTTP message converter help to convert the request body Java DTO depending on the MIME type and request. So now what is HTTP message converter? Suppose you have to convert this data, like whatever the data that is sent from the UI, sorry, not from UI, from the application, that has to be added into this one. And now this is returning a response. Now that response also has to be mapped. So who will do that one? That will done through HTTP message converter that helps to convert the request body to the Java DTO, or vice versa. Like suppose if this directory contact, it is data will be collected into directory contact DTO, so the data will be transferred in HTTP request body, but we need to get the data into directory contact DTO. Then who will do that one? That will be done using HTTP message converter. So by default your Spring is configuring HTTP message converters. You don't need to configure at all. Okay, fine. Next is by default JSON message converter is used to deserialize the incoming request data by Spring framework. By default JSON converter is the by default converter. If you want to specify more converter, you can specify explicitly. We will see that one. Explicitly MIME type can also be specified, the consume attribute of a method attribute. So what does it mean? See here, if you can see consume means what? The data that you are sending in form of HTTP request body, the data that client is sending in HTTP request body, that should be in form of either JSON or XML. That is the meaning of consumes. What is the meaning of produce? Produce means the response type that will be returned by this method, by this service. The response to the client that is returned by this service will be either JSON or XML. That is the meaning of produce. Value means add contact, that is the URL. That will be your URI or URL, whatever you call. Say we have seen in last session what is the URI, what is URL, what is UR. Okay. URN, all we have seen. So this is your URL value, and here produce and consume. Now this is the method type. This annotation is method type. Okay, so explicitly consume attribute value can be applied in this way: consume text plain, JSON, XML, or plain text or application, any types. Okay, and next one is a response entity. What does it mean? Response entity. Where is response entity? This is your response entity. Now if you see, what does it mean response entity? Response entity will defines what should be your DTO that has to be returned. Or if you don't want to give this response entity this DTO, then also fine, you can directly give directory contact DTO, fine, directly give here string, fine, no issue, you can directly give. But if you want to give for more convenient way, you can use response entity and you can return that one. Okay. So response entity is used to send the response data to client, to send HTTP status and header with HTTP response. This is used, that is used to send the status along with the headers value. If you suppose if you don't return response entity, and inside response entity you don't specify what should be the type, what should be the data, that is nothing but the type only, no, data, directory contact DTO, this is the data, this is carrying a data. But along with this data, response entity has some other fields like status, HTTP status, either error, okay, failed, anything, whatever. And along with that one, this has a header data. Inside a header, if you want to specify some file name, something, then you can use directly response entity. Okay. Response entity HTTP status you can give. Here multi-value map you can specify, that will be your header. HTTP status, that will be your status. Third one, T body, what is your body, what is your HTTP status, you can give HTTP status body, multi-value, that is headers, and that is a status you can give. You can use any of them. So this is your example, this is one example. Post mapping, this is your post method, like that is used to add the data. So add contact, that is your value. Consume JSON, produce JSON, and response entity is response message. This is your DTO, this is your DTO only, we have created this response message. And this is your request body. Inside request body you are collecting directory contact DTO. Okay, and here you are creating a new message, and message you are returning with OK status. That's it. Now the consume and produce attributes are optional, because by default the type is JSON. You no need to specify what we are specifying here, consume and produce. You can specify if you want to specify. Okay. Okay, fine. So let's see the by running this application and executing through the postman. So here how many URLs we have given? If you see, we have one get contact. Contact means this is the contact number only. So contact ID we will give and we will get the contact number. Okay, get contacts, offset and limit we will give. How many contact we want? We want first 10 contacts. You can give. Another one is, this is a get mapping, because that is used to get the data. Get method is used to get the data. So that's why the mapping type, mapping annotation is get mapping. Okay. Here is also get mapping, because this is getting contact with IDs. This is IDs is what? This IDs is what? This is matrix value, list of IDs you can give. That many 2-3 IDs you give, it will give 2-3 contact. Okay. Next one is add contact. So that this is now post mapping. Add, it is consuming, because see here inside this get mapping we have only produce, because get mapping data will be not carried in form of HTTP body. So if you specify here body, it is invalid, because of this get mapping. This is a get mapping. For get mapping you can produce data, you cannot send the data in form of HTTP request body. That's why we cannot use here consumes, we can give here only produce. But inside post mapping we can send the data in form of HTTP request body, and we can receive the data in HTTP response body. That's why consume and produce, both attributes we have specified. Same thing is here, produce only, it's not a consume, because consume will not be there, it's only for get mapping. So only the URL will be there. Inside URL, if you want to send the data, you can send using request param, path variable. We will see how many types of variables, that one. Okay, add update put mapping. For update, which method was there? Put. I will show you. Yeah, you can see here now. So get method is used to fetch the resources or used to get the data, that is get. Post is used to create, post is used to create. So here if you see, this one is get mapping, so it is returning, it is getting the contact numbers. Get mapping, get contacts, contact number. So here more than one contact numbers will be there. Here only one contact number will be there, whose ID we will pass. Whose ID we will pass, that ID contact number it will give, only one contact number it will return. This get mapping will return only one contact number. This get mapping will return multiple contact number. How many IDs we will specify, or not ID, the length, offset, limit and index number we will say that many it will return. From first index to 10, first 10 it will return. From 11th index to next 10 it will return. And this one is IDs, these whatever the IDs, list of IDs you will give, that many it will return. Get mapping. So get method is used to read the data, to get the data or to get the resource. Okay, next one is post mapping. Post mapping is used to add the data. You can see post mapping is used to create the data or add the data. So add an existing resource to the server, that's it. Okay, next one is put mapping. Put mapping is used for what? For updating the data. Put mapping is used to update the data. So here put is used for update, transfer a resource to the server and override the existing resource, that's it. Next one is delete mapping. Delete mapping is used to delete the data, to delete the contact here. Okay, fine. So so now run this application and we'll see we will see the request and response in Postman. Okay, so I am just starting this application, sorry, not this one, Springboot REST. You can start this application in any of the server. If you wanted to start that application in your external server, you can run, or if you wanted to run in your Springboot app, you can run. So before to that one, just see once what is the configuration of application property, because in application property we have specified this is the port number 8082 or whatever. If you wanted to specify, you can specify 8086, you can give, that is up to your choice. It will be started, but this server port and context path will be used only when you are running your application to embedded Tomcat server. If you are running this application into external server, then that server port and your application file name will be considered as a context path. Okay, so first let me start to external server, run on server. So it is asking which server, at Tomcat. Next. So MVC you can remove, we no need to run, we have to run only Spring REST demo, and next, finish. So it will be starting. Okay, meanwhile we need to start our Postman. So Postman also you can start. So it will be starting your Postman also, because we need to send the request in form of HTTP post. So here you can see its application is started, because there will be no UI. Yeah, you can configure this default white label error page. We will see in another sessions how we can specify the custom error page. It should be but it's not, see, it is not looking like a good, no, it is a default type of page. Everyone see, they cannot understand from anything from here. So we can specify error pages, we can specify as per our choice. We can specify into XM in Spring MVC, and we can also specify in Spring REST also. We will see that in some separate session. Okay, so application is started. Now just copy this URL and yeah, copy this URL, because this is your home URL of your application. This is port number, you can see here 8080, the port number of your external server, but our port number 8086. I will show you that one also. And you can see context path is this one, but here the context path is Springboot REST demo. Okay, so just copy this one and go to your Postman, and inside Postman just paste this URL. You will get the same type of error, but here response will be coming in this way. If you wanted to visualize, you can visualize. It is coming like that, not found path. So so what you have to do, first we need to get the contact ID. So I will use get contact IDs, this method, get contact IDs, and I will pass here offset. Offset is 0 and limit, I think, is 10. Yes, so you can see here now it is getting 10 records. Yes, see 10 records are there now. See, just clear this one. It's getting directory contacts, so it is entering here getting directory contacts. Where is this one? Yeah, this one, getting directory contacts. How many contacts you want? I am telling here I want 10 records, or I want 5 records, so it will give 5 records. So 5 records, this is the name, country code, contact number, sham, name, code. So here 5 record is there. You can see by default 5 records I have added, so it is there. Okay. So this is a get mapping. This is your get mapping. And other than that, if you wanted to see here how it is getting, so the same structure it is following. Here we have created one controller. This is our controller, and controller will communicate to service. So where is service? Directory contact service. You can see this is your directory contact service. Where is service? This one is your service, directory contact service. This is a service IMPL. This is interface, and inside interface we have defined some of the method. Add directory contact, get directory contact, get directory contact, get delete, update. Okay, so this is just interface. This is your implementation, and inside implementation you can see we are creating an repository. We are auto wiring with a repository directory contact. So that repository is where repository is this one. Now this time we are not using Spring data JPA repository. We are just creating our own repository. Directory contact repository, we have created one interface where save, get contacts, update, delete, these methods we are giving. And inside implementation, what we have did inside implementation we have just hard coded some of the values. These many contact numbers we have hard coded. I have hard coded these many contact numbers, and here save directory, it is what it is doing. It is doing some it's adding the details into this map, simple. And ID, it will adding into these IDs, getting in this way, get contacts, update contacts, delete contacts. So it is doing that operation. That is very just simple collection level, what you can say that it's a collection method only. We are calling like put delete, remove. That's it. Very easy. It is just Java, basically Java code only. So you no need to worry about this one. That is okay. Controller service, fine. Now now first what we are, which one we are calling? Get contacts we are calling by passing offset and limit. By passing offset is 0 from 0 index. So 0 index, this one is your contact. If you give here index offset from the first one, then first contact will not come. You can see directly coming John, Divakar, this one. Okay, so here this is your offset contact, and how many contact you want? 10 contacts you want, it will get. Okay, fine. Next one is, if I want to get only the exact suppose I want to get whose contact ID is 1 only, then how I can do that one? How I can do? So I will just create another URL where instead of get contacts I will give get contact. After this one I will give 1. So yes, one record found, only one record will come. You can see here. Now this time I am calling to this one, and here is the path variable. This is your path variable. In the next session we will see the URI data, how we can handle. I will show you in the next session. So currently just you understand, this is your get contact URL. That contact URL, after this one you are expecting one integer number or one number. That number is considered as a contact ID. That is a contact ID. So 1 is the contact ID. So it is getting that contact only. If I give here 2, it is giving this contact. If I give here 3, it is giving another contact. 4, another contact. 6, another contact. 7, 7, another contact. Okay, that's it. So this and this both are the get example. Here in this get we are getting multiple records in the in one call. In this one, in one call we are getting single record, single record. Okay, next one is getting multiple records. Getting multiple records. How? So so to get the multiple records we need to use this one, get contacts. After this get context we need to give, so just create a new get, this one is your base URL, copy, get contacts. After that one what you need to give, you need to give IDs. IDs will be like 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is we have to do the configuration. So currently just leave this one, this IDs it will return. Okay, so this is to get the record. Okay, next one is to add new record. Next one is adding a new record, add contact is there. So this add contact, if you see how we can add that one, we have to send the data in HTTP request body. Now we need to set the data in HTTP request. So the request should be post here. The request should be post mapping. Before this is a get mapping, that's why this method is selected as a get, but now the method is a post. So if I send this one, it will give you error, contact type is not supported. You have to give the contact type. So go to body, raw and JSON. Inside this JSON, now you need to add the contact details. Suppose if you select this contact and you paste here. So this is your contact ID. This is your contact ID. I will give contact ID 100, Naresh Kumar. So here I will give here Pradeep Kumar, any name. Contact number is this one, contact name is this one, number is this one. Okay, and if I will send this request, so it is saying that directory contact added, and if I will use this contact ID, if I will use this contact ID to get the contact detail, it will return that same contact whatever we have added just now. It's not added, huh? I think that contact is okay, 100. This one contact ID they are automatically generating. So this is, I think, contact ID. We no need to send contact ID in that case. Yes, this one is that we have added now. So here we are sending contact ID, but that is not required. You no need to send, because this they are internally sending. If I will give here A B C D 100 only, so they will return and they will give your, this is your contact ID. So this contact ID if you use, you will get. So this is to add the record. Next one is to update the contact. So how will you update the contact? Updating contact is very similar, but method is put. So just copy this one here, choose method as a put, body raw, text JSON. Now I want to update this detail only, ABC XYZ I want to give, and contact number I want to change to 800, and just send the request. So request method put is not supported. Okay, add contact we are giving. So here this is not add, this is update. Add contact is method type is post now, but this method type is post, but we are giving method type as a put. So put, this is the method. Yes, directory contact not found. Okay, contact ID is what for that one? What is the contact ID for ABCD? This is the contact ID 1002. So you have to give the exact contact ID. To updating the record, you need to get the contact ID. Yeah, now it is updated, you can see. And now if you get here the same record, it will give ABCD XYZ. Again, next time if you want to update, like I want to give here Shiv Kumar Mehta, anything, and contact number you want to give this one. This is your contact ID. This is your contact ID. So now if you save this one, it will update, and here it will get the updated record. So like that you can update, you can do update operation. Next one is a delete mapping. Very easy. Delete, just you have to give the contact ID, it will be deleted. Suppose, so just select this is your base URL, and after that one delete contact, and you have to give your contact ID. Delete contact, and you have to give your contact ID. This contact ID, suppose I want to delete this 1002, I want to delete this record, I want to delete this contact. So this is okay, yeah, this is a delete. Method type is a delete, it's not a get. So yeah, it's a deleted. This record is returning, but it is deleting. Next time if you want to get this record, they are saying directory contact not found. So this is the way how we can implement all the CRUD operation using Spring REST. In the next session we will see handling URI data, that is URI data. Put mapping, this is URI data, sorry, this one, this is URI data. Here also you are sending URI data, this is URI data. Contact number, after contact number you are passing contact, or you can give here one, you are giving contact number. So this is your URI data. Here also inside this get contacts you are getting URI data. After this get contacts, after question mark you are giving offset 0 and limit 0, this is URI data. Here also this is URI data, but currently this URI data is not working. We have to make the configuration for matrix type variable. Okay, we will see that in our next session, handling URI data in Spring REST, Springboot REST application. So I hope you like this session. Please subscribe my channel and we will see you in the next session. Till that, bye bye and thanks for watching.